As always, my first trip of the month, going well, not curse, continued into September. On September 2nd, I was just in my yard and noticed a Canadian National train had gone into emergency in the front yard. Now, you can see the CN trains out here, but way too far away to get any decent footage, unless you have the most crazy zoom lens of all time. But when the train stopped and went into emergency, we thought it would be a cool idea to go down to the junction and see it. When we arrived, though, the train was pulling out. But on our way back, we did pass the CN Mow truck, which was nice. And also at the CN Stillwell crossing, we caught a glimpse of two tankers sitting on the south shore. We went out for the first time properly on September 7th. We went out at night to catch Amtrak's Capital Limited, aka the Capital Limited, but we missed it. For once in its entire life, it was running early, so we arrived 8 minutes after. But since we were already out here, we decided might as well stay for some cool freight trains. If you've noticed, I've moved down to the crossing and I'm not at one of the two normal depot spots. That's because I realized that the streetlights and crossing would illuminate the trains at night. Expect to see a lot more from this spot. Anyways, the first train was an NS Intermodal with an AC-44 and -9. Shortly after was a BNSF manifest with a pretty darn good lash-up. Leading was an H2-9 and trailing was an H2 GEVO. If you don't know, there's only 94 H2 GEVOs in existence. They are very rare and I don't see anyone ever talk about them. So when I saw this train go through the Elkhart cam while waiting for the Amtrak, I knew I had to stick around for it. Now, we were gonna leave after that, except the signals were green for an eastbound, so we decided, why not? Then we heard the EMD horn going around the bend, and we knew that it was going to be something decent leading. When it rounded the corner, I assumed it was just two aces, and that was true for the second engine, but upon reviewing the footage, I realized the leader was not an ace. In fact, it was an SD-70 ACU. Norfolk Southern rebuilt like 100 of these, sold off half the fleet in 2020, and then proceeded to store half of the remaining units. And of the ones that are still in service, most of them are helpers on Horseshoe Curve. This is an insanely rare catch, probably rarer than a Heritage unit. I've never seen an NS ACU before. You have no idea how excited I was when this went by. The ACUs are like my favorite locomotives that are rostered on modern railroads. I've seen so many CP ones. But oh boy, this was just something special. On September 11th, it was a Wednesday, and the South Shore was coming, so I decided to go down to catch it, and happened across a CN local with I think that's a Jeep and GEVO, with only a few cars. Too bad I wasn't down at Dollar General to catch it. From what I saw from a distance, the leader was actually a paper GTW unit. Anyways, I made it down to Dollar General, sat there for 30 minutes, the South Shore didn't move, and all we got to see was the weird switching maneuvers. It was moving back and forth into these different settings and different sidings, and it was so weird. I don't exactly know what it's doing, but there is a spot farther down the track where I can view them, so I'm hoping that eventually I'll be able to go down there and see the South Shore not only moving, but also switching. Too bad I didn't think to do that this time. Well, actually, I did drive down there, but, well, the South Shore had gone behind the cars, and I think it was hiding in the trees somewhere by the time I made it down there. So, yeah. On September 13th, which was a Friday, not something normal for the South Shore, surprisingly, it showed up. I was absolutely not prepared for this, so I only got a crappy, disgusting shot from the backyard. Yeah, this train didn't have anything special on it as far as locos go. At least, I think, that second unit looks like the Indiana 115th anniversary sticker unit, but I actually have no idea, because it's, well, really far away. Like, how am I supposed to tell? I missed like 25 units, and then it was September 22nd. This day was a weekend, and the Virginian unit, 1069, was supposed to be coming through, so depot. However, it was raining, just a little, just a tiny bit, just a sprinkle, nothing too bad. Anyways, on this horrible weather day, there was this long line of, I actually have no idea what these flatbeds are for, at the depot, along with some other scattered maintenance of way equipment. And also, Southwest Michigan Railfan was there, who is literally here for every heritage unit, I swear. I have not seen one without him also being here. But he didn't arrive just yet. The first train was a crazy Norfolk Southern manifest, with an ace leading and SD70 ACC in second. Gotta love those ACCs. Plus, this was an all EMD lash-up. Near the end, there was a pretty long cut of Iowa interstate hoppers. Considering this train was eastbound, it probably originated somewhere on their system. After a while, Southwest Michigan Railfan finally arrived, and so did another train. It was another eastbound, a Norfolk Southern intermodal. And it was 2 GEVOs. Normally I'd be disappointed, but with how many AC44 C6Ms NS has, seeing an all GEVO lash-up is actually rare on Norfolk Southern. My god, what an era of rail fanning we live in. Then we saw the lights of a westbound, and we thought, well, this has got to be the Virginian unit, which is on 21W, by the way, or it had to be one of the other 2 manifests we had seen going through Elkhart. Somehow it wasn't. I have no idea where this guy came from. Maybe it originated out of Elkhart, I don't know. But anyways, it was a solid AC44 lash-up, with 2 in the front and 1 in the middle as a DPU. The second one up front was a fresh rebuild, which was nice, I guess. After that, the rain calmed down a little and I was able to walk out onto the non-covered section of the depot. And just in time too, as the next train was NS21W, with an AC44 leading and NS1069, the Virginian Heritage Unit, trailing second. With NS putting their aces into storage now, I can't believe they're doing that. I really need to catch all the Ace Heritage units before they get retired, or stored. However, after that, we still didn't leave because, well, CPKC 137 that morning was supposed to have a gray ghost on it. But it was lunchtime and we had to go let the dogs out, so we decided to stay for one more train, and if it wasn't 137, then we would bail. And it wasn't. It was a Norfolk Southern Manifest. Of course it was a Norfolk Southern Manifest. It had a GEVO leading and an AC-44 trailing. Despite the boring locomotives, the rolling stock was actually pretty good on this one, with a long string of 86-foot boxcars and a couple Burlington Northern hoppers in the mix. However, thanks to Southwest Michigan Railfanning being there, we do get to see the Gray Ghost, which was KCS 4519. And then on September 23rd, the next day, my mom caught NSB08 while on her way home from a doctor's appointment. These two GP60s are the only standard cabs that regularly traverse this section of the Chicago line. Catch them while you can, because I know NS is going to replace them with a stupid Dash 9 or GEVO in the coming months. Then on September 25th, CB7020 rolled through Delschler, Ohio, and I knew I had to go to Wellsboro to catch it. However, it got delayed a lot and came after dark. RIP. But we still get to see a lot of cool trains on this trip. The first one was not cool. It was a CSX oil train with a GEVO leading and, guess what, a GEVO in second. Interesting, the second GEVO has some weird text. If anyone knows why the number looks so weird, let me know. Anyways, the leader was 3310, and when it approached, I got a little excited because I thought it was 3440, which is the Spirit of Ravenna unit, if you didn't know. Yeah, no, it wasn't. However, I did put my mini camera underneath the train for this one, giving what I like to call a death POV. Then I realized that since the sun was super far down, we were firmly in the blue hour, plus there were some puddles on the other side of the track, I decided that going to the other side would make for a more appealing shot, and I definitely wasn't wrong. The first train we saw once we got over there was a CSX mixed freight, with a GEVO leading an AC-44, or I think that's a CM-44 actually, as the DPU, so nothing interesting motive power-wise. This shot's really good though. However, this move across the track would spell my demise. We'll get to that. Now, although the power on this train was exceedingly boring, the rolling stock made up for it and then some. At the end of the train were 2 Amtrak Phase 4 painted boxcars. These are old Amtrak material handling / boxcars that were sold off to CMHX sometime in the late 2000s. Next up, we saw a westbound, and I got very excited because 7020 was westbound. Of course, this wasn't it. It was, in fact, a Union Pacific transfer intermodal. Now, normally I wouldn't be very excited, except the leader on this was an SD70M. Get your shots of these guys while you can, they won't be around for much longer. Plus, with the glorious sunset behind and the reflection of the unit off the puddles, oh yeah, this shot went perfectly. After that train cleared, another westbound was already there. So I quickly headed over to the other side of the tracks to grab my iPad and take a couple photos with, before heading back to get the shot with the puddles. Unfortunately, the shot was absolutely ruined. The sun had gone down so far we were now at night pretty much, and well, the train barely showed up. But it did happen to be CSX B157 with the L&N Heritage Unit 1850 in the lead and a standard GEVO behind that. Too bad that epic sunlight didn't last just a little bit longer, but I don't know what I expected. Well, certainly not the L&N Heritage Unit, but still. The shot has been brightened and blown out a lot, just so you can tell it's the L&N unit, and I think it did a pretty good job with the post-production editing, but it's still a crappy shot. I'll be back one day to catch you again, 1850. Just you wait. Yeah, remember when I said that crossing the tracks was going to be our demise? Well, 1850's crew, they called the police on us. Fortunately, though, we didn't get arrested or anything. Heck, we had already crossed the tracks and were standing by the car when they arrived. So basically, and in fact, the first thing they said to us was, look, we're not here to harass you. So that was pretty nice. They're actually pretty nice guys, I'm not going to lie. And literally all they said in regards to breaking the law was, hey, don't cross the tracks when there's a train coming. Which, to be fair, we were kind of dumb for even doing that in the first place. But, yeah. So I'm literally probably never going to cross the tracks here again. And my dad ended up making small talk with them as a CN train pulled out and blocked both of our ways out, which happened to be a CN GEVO leading an X-City rail, which was pretty nice. On September 28th, I was a complete idiot. Amtrak 108, the 50th anniversary Phase 6 unit, had come in westbound that morning on Amtrak 49, and so I went out at the normal time the Crapita Limited was going to arrive, thinking that 108 would be on it. And only once I got there did I realize that it would actually be on 48, which is a totally different train eastbound, and wasn't going to be there for literal hours, and I didn't want to wait that long. So we decided to just catch 30 and call it a day. And we still managed to get scammed. Twice. The first scam was CPKC 231, which pulled in right before we got there, with a CPAC4 leading and KCS GEVO behind it. Depression. Once we got out of the car and actually set up filming properly, soon enough a westbound arrived. This was a Norfolk Southern intermodal with an ACE leading and GEVO behind it. Pretty nice. As I said, yeah, NS is putting ACEs in storage. I really just don't. I don't understand. I don't get it. Why? Anyways, this is nice to see regardless. Next up was the Crapita Limited, led by an Amtrak ALC-42. I really do like the ALC-42s. They might be common and pretty boring, but I really do love how they look. You have no idea how excited I was when that one photo of the SC-44 rebuilt with the ALC-42 nose came in. I hope they rebuild all of them to look like that. And after that was the second scam. My dad had to go to Kroger's to pick up a few things, so we went there. And while we were in Kroger's, a Norfolk Southern manifest passed through. I didn't see the power, so I didn't really care. And upon checking heritage units when I got home, I realized it was NS22M with 8102, the Penzi unit, leading. Depression. I know I already said that, but still. I was so upset because if I just checked heritage units before going to Kroger, I would have realized. But then the next train immediately made up for it. On our way back from Kroger, we noticed headlights. We pulled over, and sure enough, it was a train, a BNSF one at that, and the leader was yet another H2 GEVO, with the normal one behind it. What is it with H2 GEVOs and coming at night? I feel like the only ones I've seen decently were at night, or incredibly, horribly backlit. I saw a full H2 GEVO lash up once, and it was so backlit, I'm not even... Anyways, here's the train. And that was all of September railfanning. Not the greatest month ever, but it was still pretty fun. I think this is the least heritage units I've seen in a month for a long time. Tracking trains really does get you a lot of gems, doesn't it? The two H2 GEVOs this month were pretty nice, and I got to see a lot of EMDs, so I'm pretty happy with this. What's really funny is that literally while I was recording this video, I got jump scared by a heritage unit. So you're going to have to wait till October Railfanning to see how that trip went. Anyways, make sure to come back for another vlog just like this one.